couple in Boston is making headlines for their extreme budgets. Mr. and Mrs. Frugalwoods, that's what they're calling themselves, are on their blog saving 71% of their income so they can retire at the age of 33. Well, how are they doing it? Well, they are do-it-yourselfers when it comes to things around the house. They only ate out twice last year. She even lets him cut her hair to save on money at a salon.
Oh.
He bikes to work every day. They live in Boston. Their vehicle is a 19-year-old minivan, so very few transportation costs there as well. Most of their furniture is secondhand. She doesn't buy new clothes, even though she is pregnant, apparently. What else works for them? Well, they graduated with no student loan debt. They worked their way through college. They went to a state school, they say, which was a big deal. And they've never had a car loan, credit card debt, or major medical expenses to this point. Could you do it? 71% of your income being saved. Certified Financial Planner Joe Bert joins us now to talk about it. Joe, you read the article here. What are your thoughts on the Frugalwoods?
You talk about going off the grid, John. This is to the extreme. Now, it's certainly doable. It is feasible. But you've got to pay the price, and most people, frankly, don't want to pay the price. You know, if you wanted to swim the English Channel next year, you could do it if you're willing to pay the price. But most people don't want to do it. It's really a radical lifestyle change. In fact, if you think about it, retiring at 33, they have about 60 years of retirement in front of them, and they've got some real challenges in front of them, especially if she's pregnant.
Yeah, and you know, right there, you see that headline there, fighting back against the baby industrial complex. On their blog, I was reading, they point out all kinds of things, how people get duped into spending money that you don't need to spend. And I think it happens a lot where we think, well, Amy's kids have this, so my kids need this, otherwise they're not going to be normal, right? We all get roped into this.
Well, exactly. And of course, we've got used to our lifestyle. You know, we drive our cars, we like to go out to dinner, we like to entertain ourselves, take vacations, and all this stuff. These people are making big, big sacrifices right now for theoretically being able to live 60 years in retirement. But I'll bet you it crashes somewhere, particularly when she has a baby and that lifestyle changes, because they say it costs about $250,000 just to raise a child to 18 today.
Yeah.
Unless you're living in the woods.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do. They want to sell their house there in Cambridge, in Boston, and move out to the woods, like you said.
Right.
But I also noticed on the blogs here, and I want your perspective on this, a lot of people are saying, well, that's great, but you're not really living. They're so frugal, they're not doing anything that's a part of living. Great, you can save all that money, but have you experienced anything in your life? What do you think of that?
Well, you know, it all depends on what you think for entertainment. I know they're doing yoga, and they like hiking and biking and that stuff, and you know, if that floats your boat, that's fine. Everybody has different thresholds of what they want to do. Some people want to go to Las Vegas 3 times a year. Some people are happy riding their bike on the Seminole Trail. It's your own lifestyle. You got to decide what works for you and then figure out how to do it.
Now, I'm always curious about, you know, the whole Millionaire Mindset book that was out several years ago, and I'm sure you have clients who are like this. What are some of the tips that you've seen from them where they've been able to put aside enough money to retire early? Are there certain things that stick out to you that they did that we can learn from?
Yeah, the real key, John, is they stayed out of debt. They graduated from school with no debt. Their parents helped them out. They worked while they were going through school. They didn't have any student debt. They didn't have any credit cards, no car loans. They have a mortgage, but that's the only debt that they have. And staying out of debt and understanding debt is the first thing to long-term financial security.
It's funny you say that. Everybody wants to keep up with the vacations, the new cars, yet the rich, in air quotes, because they don't consider themselves rich, they don't do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so it's the middle class that gets roped into this whole downward spiral.
The first thing is don't live beyond your means, and what they're doing is what we all need to do, and they're saving 70% of their income. They're setting that aside, and you know, nobody can do that unless you make these radical lifestyle changes. So if you want your wife to cut your hair, John, it might work.
Well, she let me cut her hair as the bigger. She doesn't trust me with the pets, so that's not going to happen, Joe. Joe Bert, good to see you.
You too,
What's your website in case people want to check you out?
Just Google me, Joe Bert, 2 words, B-E-R-T.
All right, Joe.